Okay, so Canada, the world's second largest country. Canada is a pretty awesome place, and today we're going to rank all the different things about the country that I call home. Let's start with Canadian cities. Canada has roughly 35 cities with at least 100,000 people and 6 cities with well over a million. Each city has its own identity, vibe, and general feel. Whether you're exploring the streets of Vancouver on the west, the coastline of St. John's on the east, or Calgary, Winnipeg, Ottawa, Toronto, or Montreal in the middle, all the Canadian cities have amazing sights, amazing food, and people that will be more than happy to help you around for when you get lost. Only downside of these cities is the insane traffic that can occur, but if you can look past that, you will definitely find something to love about whatever city you find yourself in. Canadian cities get an A tier ranking today. Next up is the Canadian nature. One of Canada's most well-known aspects, there's no denying that its nature is among the best in the world. There's something for everyone, from mountains, prairies, rivers, lakes, Arctic tundra, and forests, just to name a few. Whether you're exploring the Rocky Mountains in the west, the Great Lakes in Ontario, or the world-famous Niagara Falls, this truly is Canada's flex on the rest of the world. The great Canadian nature goes into the S tier today. Next up is hockey, Canada's national sport and a large point of Canadian stereotypes. There's no denying that hockey is in the Canadian DNA. Whether you learn to skate at your local ODR or the Rideau Canal, hockey is a big part of the Canadian lifestyle, whether you're born in Canada or not. It would be nice if the 7 Canadian teams in the NHL could actually win something and bring some hockey pride back to Canada, but that's another issue on its own. Hockey is a great sport and an integral part of the Canadian experience. Hockey is worthy of an A tier ranking today. Next up is the Canadian weather, easily the worst part of living here. You never truly know what to expect. The summers can be super hot, getting into the plus 40s, and the winters are the polar opposite, where the temperatures can get down to minus 40. Depending on where you are, the air is either too dry, too humid, or not enough of either. If you love constant rain, you'll love Vancouver. If you love more snow than you'll ever witness anywhere else, you'll love Calgary. If you love slush and water and mud and dirt, you'll love anywhere in Canada during the spring. Canadian weather is unpredictable, but its F tier ranking today is more than justified. Next up, we have maple syrup, a Canadian staple. It really is worth all the hype. To someone who doesn't know what maple tastes or smells like, it's a very sweet and thick liquid with slightly burnt notes to it. We Canadians literally get our maple by tapping maple trees and draining them into big buckets, and then we proceed to eat it with basically any dessert. You can add it to waffles, you can freeze it over ice to make taffy, or you can find it as a sweet in basically any tourist shop. I personally love maple syrup, so it goes into the A tier today. Next up are the people. Canada is a very welcoming country, and being a Canadian is a term that can apply to everyone regardless of where you come from. Canadians have a reputation of being some of the nicest, most welcoming people on the planet, and that certainly is the case. While the stereotype of us apologizing all the time and being too polite is mostly true, we do it without even realizing. While not every Canadian is as nice as our American counterparts would like to believe, I have met some great people here, both with Canadian backgrounds and from different countries as well. The people here are awesome, and they get an S tier ranking today. Next up are Canadian animals. There's the usual suspects like polar bears, beavers, moose, grizzly bears, and the hundreds of types of birds that fly above our heads. The stereotype that we use dog size to get around, while extremely funny, is not true, but there are thousands of dog breeds in Canada that you can see and interact with at your local dog park. Seeing a wild deer in your neighborhood isn't as rare of a phenomenon as one might think, or a rabid raccoon going through your garbage bin. We definitely enjoy seeing our animal friends in the wild, and many of us have fed a moose a carrot from our cars before. Canadian animals are cool, so they can go into the B tier today. Next up is Tim Hortons, the Canadian staple fast food place, something that every Canadian knows all too well. Every Canadian relies on Tim's for their morning coffee to get them through the day, and without Tim's, the country would be in shambles. Whether you're getting a double-double, a 20-pack of Timbits, or one of the weird food things they try adding every now and then, there's no denying that Tim Hortons is a Canadian treasure. However, in my opinion, it isn't as good as it used to be, and since being bought by Americans in 2014, it's only gone downhill. It'll have to settle for a C tier ranking today. Next up is Canadian healthcare. It seems that most people understand that Canadian healthcare is pretty good, and when you use the American healthcare system as a point of reference, it's clear to see why. Canadian healthcare is great, and you can be at ease knowing that a simple bone break won't make you go bankrupt. However, a lack of staff and long wait times, like hours of waiting just for a doctor to tell you that you're fine, is definitely a negative aspect. Overall, though, it's a very good system and something every Canadian appreciates. A B tier ranking for our healthcare system today. Next is poutine, one of Canada's signature dishes. Poutine is something so well known for us, but something that seems foreign to the rest of the world. A mix of fries, gravy, and cheese curds, you can find some variation of poutine no matter where you are in the country. While the best poutine is found in Quebec and the worst is found in Canadian McDonald's, it truly is a great dish. It can go into the B tier today. And lastly is our money. Many foreigners think our money comes from a game like Monopoly, and I don't blame them. We have plastic money, which is colored and has people's faces on it. Not to mention our coins, which are called loonies and toonies, and the fact that we don't use pennies anymore. Our money may be a bit of a joke, but our currency is one of the strongest in the world, so it's worth all of the jokes. Our money can go into the A tier today. And that wraps up our Canada tier list. Canada is a great country with beautiful nature, people, and things to explore. If you're from Canada, we should go for a Tim's run sometime, and if you're from outside of Canada, you are always welcome to come visit. Let me know what you think down below, and I'll catch you next time.